going to start with this introduction of hospitality and COVID-19. And what we went through last year, the industry went through the first phase of cancellations and then loss of demand. And then now we are looking at recovery. But first, the recovery period is a little bit extended. We started talking about recovery last year, and now we are in the second year already. So just briefly, the three periods here last year, if you look at the year 2020, we have this the unprecedented low on occupancy, average occupancy that went down to about 5.5% in March when the government announced the movement control order. And then slowly we picked up, particularly during the months of June to September with the recovery MCO, and then the year end again. But then when we look at year 2021, there was a little bit of a hiccup as well. So if we move on to, if you look at year 2020 itself, the industry would have lost 6.5 billion in revenues. Now look at 2021. So 2021 is a little bit of a roller coaster, right? As you can see from the graph here. Earlier of the year, we started with another movement control order. I think it was on the 13th of January. And then because of that, occupancy dropped and then dipped to 15% in February. And in March and April, there was a little bit of demand driven by quarantine needs. And again, because of the interstate travel restriction and interdistrict travel restrictions, occupancy was on the low 20s. And as we all know, in the month of October, the government allowed interstate travel again, which is why we saw an increase in average occupancy. And as of now, end of the month of November, we're looking at a 41.8%. So these are the things that happened during the period. And if we look at year 2021, it's actually worse than 2020. We by month of October alone, we have lost 11.4 billion in revenue. So at the end of the year, we will be looking at 25 to 30% average occupancy. It will be mainly driven by the last couple of months. So in the year 2022, if we are to expect the reopening of international borders and restart of the international trigger, we could be looking at 35% and above for year 2022. This is the breakdown of the market for our domestic, hotel industry of Malaysia. We have 55% domestic and 45% international. That is the dependency of the hotels on the different types of tourists. And then the higher the dependency on domestic market, the quicker the recovery. But of course, we saw very good pickup in Langkawi because of the demand, as domestic tourists are yet to be able to travel overseas, so they chose local destinations first. If we look at domestic alone, whether this will be recovery, that's a big question mark there because it will only max out at 55%, and there is a limit to spending by the domestic market. Human resource, I'll just run through very quickly. For the hotels have done pay cuts, have given unpaid leave, and employees were laid off. And of course, various cost-cutting, cost management measures were taken. Some were given unpaid leave, retrenchment, reduced benefits. And one of the most popular measures taken by the hotels are actually multitasking the employees. We have seen employees that are doing various tasks, even to the extent of general managers are cleaning rooms now because there are not enough staff on certain peak periods. And of course, if we look at how the industry has reacted to the situation with the reduced demand, hotels have also taken measures to reduce the number of rooms available for sale. This is also not only a cost management measure, but also it takes into consideration of reducing the capacity the hotels can take at any one point. So it is also a safety measure at the same time. Room rates, quickly, we saw a dip in room rates. Averagely, it was down by 27%. Of course, we saw higher rated hotels, 5-star or luxury hotels that used to charge thousands and were offering it per night. Their discount on the room rates are actually much higher than the others, as high as about 70 to 80% during certain periods. Now, initiatives, this will be the interesting part moving forward. Some of the initiatives are still ongoing. So for the general public watching on, looking on to this, these are some of the things that you can take advantage of. We are still running the Ma Tourism Malaysia and Shopee Cuti-Cuti Malaysia campaign. That is also tied into our theme today, Cuti-Cuti Malaysia. So what it does is that it gives you a 100 ringgit subsidy for 4 and 5 star hotel stays and a 50 ringgit subsidy for 3 star and below. Example, if the hotel ABC in Kuala Lumpur or in Langkawi for that matter is putting up a room stay for 200 ringgit, a 4 or 5 star hotel, 200 ringgit on Shopee, and you pay only as a tourist, you only pay 100 ringgit, and the government pays the balance 100 ringgit. So you've effectively taken a 50% discount on the room stay for this particular hotel. So do go on to Shopee, look for Jom Cuti Cuti Malaysia campaign, or search for the hotel that you want. There are vouchers that you can claim that's for the 100 ringgit and 50 ringgit, and that is still ongoing. Most of the hotels are offering these deals up to that you can stay up to year 2022. Quickly, overall, as of November, this particular campaign has generated total sales of 4.6 million to date. And with that, of course, the subsidy given by the government. And at the same time, this is another initiative that you can take advantage of. That is the income tax relief. For Malaysians, you have a personal income tax relief of up to 1,000 ringgit per year for your hotel stays if you spend during the year. You as of this year alone, you have 1,000. Last year there was 1,000 as well. Meaning that at the end of the year, if you have spent on a MOTAG registered hotel, you can use the invoice or the receipt that you have taken from the hotel and claim a personal income tax relief of up to 1,000 ringgit. Of course, if we look at history, the tourism industry has gone through multiple disasters and pandemics, but yet it came back stronger. So, future tourism, yes, of course, we will look at tourism coming back even stronger. There were a lot of talks about revenge tourism, and we are looking forward to a very strong recovery. But we can argue that COVID-19 is different. It has devastated and brought the industry down to its knees. Never happened before such. So we can still look forward to a good recovery. This is one of the reasons why we say we potentially there will be a very strong recovery. On the year 2019 itself, had, uh, if- only China itself has actually an outbound travel of 165 million trips, 165 million people travel out of China in a year, and then followed by Germany, United States, United Kingdom. So these numbers are actually very, very strong and very encouraging. If you look at what Malaysia has done during that year of 2019, we have only 2 million Chinese arrivals, and that's actually very little compared to the total outbound tourists from China. So we still look forward to all these markets coming back to Malaysia, and Malaysia is a popular choice. Now, okay, what now we look at how do we project a safe travel? How do we send a safe travel message out to the general public and even the international market? This is the future of travel. Everyone is talking about safety and hygiene. And that's why the private sector, actually came up with this initiative. And this is the collaboration between the Malaysian Association of Hotels that represents the hotels, and then the Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents, MATA, represents the travel tour operators. They are the ones who does the ground arrangement. And then we have Marcios that does all the conventions and the event venues and business events for the industry, which we can incorporate into the tourism industry. And then on the airline side, we have Malaysia Airlines, the Malaysian Aviation Group, which includes Malaysia Airlines, Firefly, and Marswing. So Travel Safe Alliance Malaysia TSAM. This is a partnership between these four parties at this point. So what is TSAM? As I said earlier, TSAM it comprises of hotels, travel and tour operators, events and convention venue, and also the airlines. Travel Safe Alliance Malaysia represents independently certified safe travel components of the tourism ecosystem. These are the certifications, independent certification is not by the government, it's not given freely by anyone, but it is a paid, a independent certification, and we have actually engaged a independent certification body to do this. For the hotels under Malaysian Association of Hotels, we have the Clean and Safe Malaysia certification. and it is through the Malaysian Association of Hotels, based on 6 key pillars of hygiene and safety management in all areas within the hotel. I'll show you a little bit more on this later on. And then the Travel Safe certification by the Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents, MATA. It certifies travel and tour operators from overall management to ground operations, and it includes compliance to SOPs where they bring the tourists to. Even within the logistic, the ground arrangements, the buses, the tour buses that they take the tourists on, it includes compliance to SOP at every point during that particular tour. And then we have Safe BE by Marcios. Safe BE or the business events. This certifies business events and venues on compliance to hygiene and safety SOPs on the venue and also the proceedings of the business events itself. The exhibition, the convention itself, they are SOPs. They are different from other businesses and other premises. And this one certifies the particular organizers and also the venue. And the Malaysian Aviation Group, of course, they have been certified COVID-19 7-star rating. That is by airlines rating, airlineratings.com. So they have also tied up on their own motto for this: travel responsibly, travel safely, and this actually goes along with all the initiatives here to create an ecosystem of safe travel. This is how we tell people we are safe. Come and visit Malaysia. We are ready. We have all the components here. So what makes TSAN different? Like I said earlier, we have an independent certification body and we have appointed Bureau Veritas. So all these certifications that forms a TSAN, they are audited and they are certified on a yearly basis. The certification itself is 3 years, and then every year there's a surveillance audit to ensure that the particular property of the businesses have complied and they've maintained the standards of the certification. And this certified establishment also registered and tracked, and they are each and every property or each and every component that has been certified by Bureau Veritas Certifications Malaysia. They are given a unique QR code on a sticker that they can put up, or a certificate they can put up at the property, which the public can scan the QR code and they find out details about it, and they can verify that this particular premise or business is in fact certified and comply with all the requirements. It's not something that you can copy and paste and put anywhere else and claim that you're certified. So there is a check and balance. And in any case, if there are any doubts, the public or travelers or tourists can actually lodge complaint or submit a query to Bureau Veritas, which is again an independent body, and there will be a investigation launched by the certification body on it. Now, these 3 certifications are also fully supported by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture of Malaysia, and it is the only one that is actually fully supported by MOTEC, by the ministry. This, the photo you see on the right here, this is the launch event we did on the 10th of October. The launch of the Travel Safe Alliance Malaysia was, we did the launch in Langkawi on the 10th of October, but this Clean and Safe Malaysia certification for the hotels, we launched it last year in July. We were anticipating a recovery by the year end and probably this year, early this year, and we launched it. And by now, we already have about 150 hotels in Malaysia certified on the program of Clean and Safe Malaysia. So how does it work? There are both sides here. For the stakeholders, if you're a business, if you're a travel business or your hotel, how does it work? For the hotels, travel tour operators, event and convention venues, what you need to do is that you have to register online on a Bureau Veritas Malaysia, and there is a dedicated website for a landing page for all the different certifications here. And once you submit your details, they will schedule a audit to your property, and they will first do a online checklist with you so that the properties are sure that they can comply, they know what they need to provide, they know what they need to do. And once they have the audit done, they will be certified and they'll be issued a similar sticker or a certificate that you can see here on the left, on the bottom left. And throughout the period that they are certified, the properties or the hotels are certified, they need to maintain records. They need to make sure that they still comply to all of it as we move along during the entire period. And this includes it includes new SOPs or new compliance issues that may be introduced or may be required by the health authorities based on the situation. The standard itself is already higher than what the health authorities requires, but if there are anything that is out of the ordinary that the health authorities requires, the certifications will include that as well. Now, for travelers, so for travelers, it's very simple. You plan your travel dates, you know where you want to go, you know what you need. If you need a tour operator, you need a hotel to stay, then you look for the certified services and you book and you enjoy. That's very simple. Now, this gives you a first line of defense what you want to make and how you can make sure you are safe and you are in a safe property, you are in a property, you are in the services, you're in a product that complies to all the safety standards. And you can actually find all of these properties and businesses that are certified on Bureau Veritas. There's a website here, myradar.bureauveritas.com, at RIB Restart Your Business. And the QR code here you can scan, will bring you to that particular website. It will be a map on this website. And what you can do is you can search for Malaysia, or you can search for Penang, or you can search for the hotel name that you want, and you will know whether it's certified or not. So this has been done, and this provides a independent listing of all these businesses to the general public. Okay, on the Clean and Safe Malaysia for the hotels, what makes it different? Now, the Clean and Safe Malaysia Hotel Certification Guideline that we have developed ourselves, we took the standards from WHO, we took part of the framework from Singapore, and we also took parts and different parts of the components of the hygiene and safety guidelines from various international chain hotels. And we have compiled all of them and customized it, fine-tune it to the needs of Malaysia. Now, we have six, like I mentioned earlier, we have six main pillars. The first one is general cleaning. We all know about general cleaning. We talk about sanitization, we talk about disinfection, we talk about wiping down all the touch points and all. Oh, those are very common ones. So under general cleaning, you have the disinfection, common properties where the general travelers and everyone goes through. And we include at the back office as well, receiving and stores, the laundry services that hotels provide, the meeting rooms, the ballrooms, the facilities, even the surau or the public toilets. How do we do it? How do we ensure that the proper SOP and disinfection? If you look into the details of this part, it even says on wiping down, what is the contact time of the active ingredient on the surface that you need to maintain. It's not as simple as just spraying and wiping and that's it. There is a certain duration it needs to be there to disinfect. And then we have disinfection of guest room and recommendation for checkout rooms as well. Because we understand hotel rooms are actually a personal space of travelers. So for this personal space of travelers, it means that they are in the room on their own and they are in the room exposing themselves to the room itself. So the moment the room on the checkout room, the hotels will take extra measures to ensure this is actually turned around and is made safe and clean again for the next guest to check in. We have guidelines, we have recommendation for additional measures within this guidelines. Then the part two, that's how we deal with employees. Employees are a very important component to the hotels. Without employees, nothing works. So the first part of it is, of course, screening of employees. Screening of employees is done on a daily basis the moment the employees come to work. And of course, now we see hotels doing additional screening as in testing the employees on a periodic basis to make sure they are still negative when they come to work. And this includes personal hygiene. Part of the pandemic management and the COVID-19 management is it boils down to a lot of personal hygiene practices, cleaning your hands, cleaning yourself, and those are very important measures that we need to take. Now we have employees, we have general cleaning. And the third one, these are the third party and other associates. Very often businesses miss out this particular component because you did not expect the third party or vendor or somebody is doing a delivery to your hotel or somebody is coming in, a third party, they're coming into the hotel to fix something in the hotel. Now, we included that we need a screening of third party and associates coming into the property. We need declaration of whether they have been to high risk areas, and we need them to do a measures on their end itself before they even come in to perform the duties and provide the services. And part four, the third portion of the people that we deal with, employees, third party. The part four is also the most important one. That's our guests. Guests, we have a lot of SOPs. Even if you look at the health authorities requirements, there's often a very detailed SOPs on what the guest can and cannot do. But what the guest can and cannot do is also the responsibility of the hotels and the properties. How we control them, how we make aware to them that these are the SOPs and these are the spaces that requires a different set of SOPs. So the role of the hotel here is not only to ensure the controls are there, to ensure the people, the guests, are actually complying and following SOPs, adhering to SOPs, but also making sure they understand the SOPs so that they know why we're doing this. So these specific controls as well, we have different type of guests. We have guests who are staying in-house. We have guests who are coming in just for F&B dine in. And we have guests who comes in for meetings or conventions or an event. So we have different controls for different types of guests. So this puts the hotel at an advantage to be ready for different types of people. And when we deal with guests, we have different services as well. We have bell service, we have valet service, we have prayer rooms, we have shuttle services. Some of the hotels provide shuttle service. How do we deal with the shuttle vans or shuttle transport itself? And then we have the facilities like the gymnasiums and swimming pool. What do the guests need to do? What can and cannot or they can't do? So we need to actually educate our guests and make sure everyone is safe. And part five, management and documentation. This is very important because this will provide proof and evidence to the compliance. So we require the hotels to maintain logs and records, and also on the all the other section, even on the finances, marketing, even the salesperson when they meet up guests or meet up potential customers, and even the human resources part, we need to have all the records in place to ensure compliance. And lastly, but not least, part six of this particular requirement is when we have a suspected case. We cannot be 100% sure that there will not be any issue. And we are moving into an endemic stage. We are moving into a part where we need to live with COVID-19. We need to live with the virus. We have to accept that it will still be there for a 1 or 2 more years in the near future. So what do we do if we have a suspected cases and yet maintain safety and hygiene and safety for everyone else in the hotel and still maintain it safe for the employees who are still coming to work? And this includes contingency plans such as a quarantine room. And quarantine room must come with a dedicated in and access and exit routes that they can be transported in and out so that we do not expose the suspected cases to anyone else. So all this contingency plans are actually very important, and this forms the entire Clean and Safe Malaysia Hotel Certification Guideline. So with this Travel Safe Alliance Malaysia, this is our message to the world, not just to domestic but also international. This is our message to the world that we have the airlines ready, we have the hotels ready, we have the travel and tour operators ready. We know what to do. If to the extent we were saying that we even know what to do if something goes wrong. We have everything in place already. So we want to tell the world, we want to tell the domestic market and the international market, welcome to Malaysia, your safe travel destination. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you for sharing your interesting topic. I believe everyone around here will have more information toward the hotel and the public will have more confidence in staying in hotel. So now it's time for the Q&A seasons. To the public on the floor, if you do have any questions, do ask now. Here we got a questions. The questions is as the government gradually opens up the border, international flights will resume. What hoteliers do in order to welcome foreign tourists?
Okay. This question actually ties in very closely with what I presented earlier. So the Clean and Safe Travel Safe Alliance is exactly what we are doing. We want to welcome tourists to let them know that we are ready. We have all this in place, and that is the back end of it. I think this question will also tie in with the initiatives to market what we have done. Having it done, doing it is not enough, but to let people know, to show that we have done it is more important. The message must be sent across, which is why we have a couple of partners who are working with us, even the Tourism Malaysia itself. Tourism Malaysia being the marketing arm of the country of Malaysia, they will be using the Travel Safe Alliance Malaysia and all the different components in that to do the marketing of Malaysia, to send assurance to the world that Malaysia has all this prepared. Regardless whether it's a public or private initiative, we are very good with it. We don't have any problems with it. We are doing this for the country. We are doing this for the industry, and this will be marketed to the world as a travel safe alliance. And specifically for hotels, if you have traveled to a hotel recently, you will see that they have done a lot of initiative to show that they have done their part. I think traditionally hotels are very, very rigid when it comes to SOP anyway, regardless of COVID. Hotel industry has always lived on SOPs from the very beginning of the industry, and we everything that we do is based on an SOP. But now what we realize is that doing is not enough. You must show that you have done it. Cleaning a room is not enough. You must prove to your guest that you have done it. You've seen hotels room with a sticker on the door that says this room has been disinfected. And the moment you enter, then you break the seal. If you do not enter, that room is still maintained as disinfected. So I think hotels are doing a lot more now. And of course, that comes with challenges with manpower. That's a different topic altogether.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Yap. And then here we have the second questions, which is what do you think about the customer staying experience for now compared to pre-pandemic?
I think the customer experience has definitely changed a lot now. There's a lot of compromise on both ends, whether on the service provider as the hotelier or on the guest side. There are compromises that we need to accept because of the SOP. And this comes with because we say now SOP first, safety and hygiene first. And it's not a one-way traffic where the hotels dictate that you must do this, and so on. We have guests coming into the hotel and say, hey, why are you not doing this? Why are we not doing more? Why do we not have more SOPs in place? So it has become a demand from the customer itself to see SOPs in place, to see safety and hygiene measures in place. And that is the compromise that the hotels and both the hotels and the guests needs to look at. So if we look at the situation now is that we need to educate our customers. Um, to be very honest, recently we have had a couple of messages that gone viral saying that hotels are making the guests wait for quite a long time for the rooms to check in, and yeah, but then again, I think what we the customers and the guests needs to understand is that cleaning a room now and cleaning a room then before COVID is totally different. We need more people to clean the room. We need more people to cover every areas and every touch point of the rooms, and we need more time because we need to sanitize and disinfect a lot of areas in the room. And some hotels are even implementing a gap where nobody enters, and they put in an apparatus, whether it's a ozonizer or even a UVC apparatus into the room to ensure everything is being disinfected. So customer experience will definitely be different. You do not and you cannot expect the same as before, but hotels are doing its best to deliver customer satisfaction.
All right. Next, we come to the third questions, which is December always is the month when people like to travel. What do you think about the movement and occupancy rate in December?
Okay. We can actually project what we expect for the coming month of December based on what happened last year. So last year was very interesting because during the recovery movement control order between the months of June to September, occupancy actually went up to as high as for 44% averaging for the country, 44% over the Merdeka weekend, long weekend. But because of another surge of cases, the interstate travel ban was again placed in the month of September, in the mid of September, until it was lifted early December. I think it was 11th of December, the interstate travel ban was lifted. So that gave a push for travelers to book their year-end holidays. The year-end holidays being the Christmas and the New Year weekends. Those are always the popular time, popular period for people to travel. More so for the domestic, especially during this time when the people of Malaysia are not allowed to travel overseas. So they focus everything in domestic. And over the weekend of New Year and Christmas for the year of 2020, occupancy went up to as high as about 43, 44% again. So we saw a trend of it peaking at 43, 44%. The reason behind that is that there is a huge demand at certain destinations, but not all. The population of Malaysia is very concentrated, Peninsular Malaysia, for example, is very concentrated in the Klang Valley. So during the holiday periods, you have a lot of people from the Klang Valley traveling out of Klang Valley to destinations such as the ones that you can drive to, Malacca, the Great Sembilan, as in Port Dickson, and even Genting Highlands, and some may even go to the East Coast despite it's the year end, and Langkawi and Penang, of course. So if we have this couple of 5 or 6 different destinations with very high occupancy, even if they max out the occupancy rates to up to 100%, it does not help the other destinations that are still not doing as high as them. So when we average out, it will not be a very high average occupancy. So we are expecting 40 to 50% averagely, with the destinations, the popular ones, doing extremely high, as in 70 to 80%. But when we average out, it will still be between 40 to 50%.
Okay, so we have another questions from the audience. What do you think is the most important thing people need to pay attention to when they staying in a hotel?
Okay, at this point, I would advise travelers to plan ahead. Be prepared. You have to plan ahead what you want to do, and even if you will need to plan your own itinerary, do know exactly where you want to be and find out the SOPs for the different areas or different points that you want to go to during your particular travel. It, and this will actually affect the travel time. Planning is important because the SOPs will interfere with your travel time and your activities, what you want to do at all these different points. So if you can plan ahead, you can put extra time and extra precautions in all these particular places that you're visiting. You can actually you can actually give yourself a little bit more room to enjoy and give yourself a little bit more time to actually spend at where you want to enjoy more. And when it comes to a hotel, of course, be prepared with the check-in and check-out time. We have I mean, to be very honest, we have a lot of guests who are always complaining about late check-in time. But then again, when it comes to their checkout time, they don't check out as well because they want to spend more time in the hotel. They want to enjoy the facilities, and the hotels totally understand that. So if you can plan ahead, you can actually be prepared with your needs and what you want, and in within there, you understand the activities that you're going to get involved in, and you understand the interaction that will happen between you and other parties or other travelers or other people, then it gives you more confidence and assurance that your particular journey will be safe and will be you can enjoy that particular journey even more.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yap. Is there any questions from the audience? Uh, please wait for a while, yeah, Mr. Yap. Mm,
No problem.
I think there is no questions from the floor. Mm. So, Mr. Yap, do you have anything else you want to add on before we conclude?
Yeah, maybe I just want to add on the international market, reopening of international market. I think what we need to look at here is that when we talk about reopening of international market, it's actually two ways. At the same time, we have, if let's say we open the international borders for certain countries to come into Malaysia, we are also opening up our borders for Malaysians to travel overseas. So the two-way communication, the reciprocal arrangement must be there. And this actually takes away our domestic market at the same time. So we still want our domestic market, our people of Malaysia, to support the industry of Malaysia, to support the hotels and our stakeholders after we have, because the industry has actually suffered for 18 to 20 months already by now. And we encourage the hotels and even the industry, the travel attractions, and so they are already providing a lot of special deals to the people in Malaysia. Do look out on Shopee. There are a lot of promotions there that you can take advantage of.
All right. Mr. Actually, we have another questions from the
Yep.
audience. In lights of the new COVID variants, Omicron just recently, how ready is the hotel industry in Malaysia to handle this?
Okay. This came in yesterday in the afternoon when the news of this particular variant came out, and they only gave the name Omicron this morning. And when this news came out, the industry actually scrambled to look for more information. What's going to happen? Because the Ministry of Health announced immediately that the travelers from particular countries coming into Malaysia will be banned immediately. If they have a PR or they are on a work visa permit coming into Malaysia, yes, they can come in, but they are required to go through a 14 days quarantine. And but as of now, even WHO itself is still unclear what is the impact of this particular variant Omicron, whether it is a uh, on paper, on the research part of it, they say this might be a highly infective variant. It may be but at the same time, they also say it might be a little bit too late already to put travel curbs in place. It may not be able to control it. So we need to understand this more before we can actually do addition. We can take additional measures. But as of now, if we go by the advice and the guidelines by WHO, the SOPs as of today maintains, as in clean your hands, clean surfaces that you touch, wear a mask in public, make sure you cover your nose and your mouth, and be stay away from crowded areas, stay away from crowded spaces or confined spaces where there are no ventilation. So these general guidelines still remains as it is, and they are actually the safest bet, regardless of what variants they are.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yap.